So hang on a sec, you've got the horse of the year sorted already.
Yeah, I'm calling it. like the elections in America, it's done. Look, I know it sounds ridiculous, fellas, and good morning to you boys as well. It's horse of the year potentially being decided by the 1st of October, and you're thinking, well, that's just ridiculous. Well,
yeah, we are.
Hold on, actually. Last season's horse of the year, Bonnevale, didn't run a place after October the 1st.
It was a bad year.
Doesn't matter. Last year, no galloper in New Zealand trained galloper, won 2 Group 1s for the entire season. Not one horse did it. Melody Bell has had 3 starts, Group 2 and 2 Group 1s, and as we see her just disappearing into the distance yesterday on the Windsor Park Plate, it's going to take an awfully big season for a horse to get over top of her. I know that sounds ridiculous.
But hang on, this is still a prep race for some horses. So
it's a Group 1, it's not a prep race.
Yeah, but it's a prep race for some horses. It was her sort of Street Creek Group 1 race, wasn't it? It was a different story for the rest of the horses. You can't give her the horse of the year based on that.
No, it's early days, and Shafiq losing his balance
Shafiq,
after
right of the
line.
year. Right of the year so far, Shafiq at the end there.
I'm not saying she'll win horse of the year, but what I am saying is, had she performed to that level this time last season, she would have won horse of the year over Bonnevale, because we didn't have a horse for the whole of last season to win 2 Group 1s. She's won a Group 2 and 2 Group 1s, and more importantly, we now know she can run from 1200 to 1600. Yep. Her options, Railway, Telegraph, the 2 1400s in February, and she can get up to a mile if she wanted to go to a Captain Cook or any of the other races, and at weight for age, of course, 56.5 is a weight she can carry easily, as we've seen. All of a sudden, she becomes the star galloper in New Zealand.
But won't it take just one New Zealander to win in Melbourne this spring to...
You'd need 2.
Supersede
you would need at least 2 good Aussie victories, Bruce. Let's go over the race, and this, Bruce, simply could not have gone better for favourite backers.
It's scripted well. The track was playing up and in, and she jumped well, and Shafiq gets her nicely relaxed. That was the key to running the mile. She switched off by the first corner, and a great position following. Wasn't mad speed, so she was in a good position, whereas a lot of the other chances were awkwardly placed. The track for me played very much inside and towards the front, so she's in the perfect position. Looking back through the field, Savvy Cope's just about the run of the day, really. She's enormous. She hasn't got down to the rail. She's been held up, so I'm probably compensating her. You want to be watching her from the 400 to the 250, where she's blocked when looking to build her momentum. And you're giving her a little bit as well for track bias, and maybe a little negative on the winner, Melody Bell, for getting the box seat run, but she's the kind of horse where she is going to get the box seat run most times, given her tactical speed. So it's probably not a case for making a negative on that. But well, it was a Group 1. It rates as at one of our best Group 1s each year at come pattern committee time. There's Savvy Cope getting blocked behind the runners wide. High Flyer was flushed out wide, and meantime, Melody Bell's off and gone.
Seventh up, run on with Windsor, and then Savvy Cope, but Melody Bell in front. Savvy Cope gets to second, but she has been way too good. Melody Bell, Savvy Cope, then Windsor.
So the Melody Bell syndicate, they must have actually been smiling when the barrier draws came out, wouldn't they?
Well, short run to the first bend gives you a huge advantage, and Shafiq used that beautifully. Obviously, he had 2 horses come across. That could have been more tricky, but 1 horse and a good horse to follow came across. If Opie had produced that ride, we'd all be saying, what a genius. So Shafiq has ridden this horse beautifully. Look, she has all those options, and I spoke to Jamie Richards this morning. She's come through it well. She now goes to the paddock. Clearly no liver mole, as he said yesterday. She'll go to the Railway, but lead-up races could be a problem for her because of her rating so high now. And for that reason, they may go 2 trials into a Railway, into a Telegraph, and then obviously they've got a whole bunch of options at the back end of the season.
So if she wins a couple of those, there's Horse of the Year wrapped up.
Well, she wins 1 more Group 1. Yep. It'll take a stunning performance to beat her for Horse of the Year. From a Livermole point of view, as I said, she's not going, but everybody was talking about Savvy Cope after the race.
More flashing lights than Auckland International Airport.
Here's Michael Pittman on Savvy Cope.
I said to Chris, we're not going to change our pattern of racing because everybody knows, and I made no secret of the fact that I really think she's a big chance in the Livermole. Had we got clear today, I don't think it would have made any difference. The winner won 2 good, and good on Jamie Richards, a great training effort. So We might not have won the race, but I'm just as happy.
Yeah, she's just doing everything right this preparation, isn't she?
Yeah.
What have you noticed about it, sort of the transformation into a 4-year-old mare?
Well, when we came up here, my other horse was working better, Son of Maher, and he ran last, you know, but he was actually working better than her all the way through. But she's a horse that gets into her preparation, she improves, you know. And Matthew said when she first got off the float at Wellington, it was like the light switch turned on, and she's a different horse than today. I mean, she's improved links. I'm pleased we took her home to home base because we've been able to do what we want to do at home, and she's improved a lot, and you can see that. I mean, I thought her run the first day was enormous anyway, and she's backed it up today. And yeah, I'm really looking to the next 2 or 3 runs with her because I hope to take her to Melbourne, and we'll see what happens next start.
Before you get there, there's a Livermore Classic. What will she do in the next 2 weeks?
Back to Trentham. Trentham have been very, very good to me, Wellington Racing Club. They've been good to me for a long time, and we've got a good facility there, good paddocks, good boxes. Brittany said on Wednesday when she arrived here, they took her off the float and she dived at the box. It's the same box she's been in every preparation we've come here, so she knows where she's going, and that's important, you know.
He's absolutely flying, Aiden. She was pretty rough going into the first corner, as I kind of expected, but he got into a good rhythm and probably come out a touch wider than where the fast lanes are. But he attacked the line strong. He seen Melody Bell in front of him, and he really dropped her head and tried to chase her down, which she's a bit too classy over the shorter distance, but 2,000 metres in 2 weeks give us a good 3-track, and me and Savvy Cope might be finding out a good finish.
It was a bit of an awkward draw, and he tracked into the race okay, and he's finished off okay considering he's been flushed out wide.
All right, we're going to take another look at this replay shortly, but just out of the race, Shelley Hale. The close-up looked like he pulled up a bit short in his action. I spoke with Shelley earlier this morning. She said he's pulled up A-OK, probably heading to either the Livermore or the Rotorua weight for age, and 7th up. Really good ride from the Iceman, Grant Cooksley. We come to expect it from him, but when the rail was playing inside, he's back on the rail. He's ridden a terrific race to get into a good position.
I think everybody saw Savvy Cope and thought, wow, I thought our Aberdeen was the next best of them. Like, got back to last on the inside, did cut the corners pretty well. And again, spoke to Jamie Richards this morning. They're thrilled. She obviously heads to the Livermore. And talking about the Livermore, Bruce, the obvious ones were Savvy Cope and obviously our Aberdeen. Spoke to Chris Gibbs this morning. Dan's Darts, very happy with her. So she is going to head there with only the 1 start under her belt. But the 2 horses at the back of the field here, Bruce, are the obvious ones.
Yeah, highlighted Scott Base. Not everything goes right for him from about the 600 metres. He gets caught behind a couple of horses going nowhere or almost stalling behind a Shadows Cast. He gets back on the fence. Shadows Cast in the white, directly behind him, Scott Base. And then in the straight, he doesn't get the clearest of runs. High Flyers just to his outside. I don't like this with the jockeys taking off at the 700. We see it quite commonly in New Zealand. I don't want to pick on Jonathan Parks, but look where he is. He's 4th last. He takes off 3 and 4 deep. He gets flushed wider as horses move in front of him. And by the time they straighten up, he's back where he started, but he started his run at the 700. Here he goes now wide. And perhaps even Scott Base might have been a better horse on the outside. I'm not sure
He's
about him
running
coming
Savvy
through.
Cope nicely into the race there. Actually, on the corner here, just watched Johnson here. I thought, why aren't you just coming around High Flyer? But obviously
He's going to just get flushed wider.
He knew a lot better than me.
His is a better ride. He's
just
got
there,
into the
looked like he was
race.
going pear-shaped.
The 250, he's well back, but he's done no work, so she's going to get home hard. She hasn't been fully tested, Savvy Cope. She's terrific. Wind spell, obviously very good. He was in a nice position. In Scott Base, things didn't go right. Our Aberdeen from last is terrific, powering through the pack. Sectional breakdown. It's not super, 35.09 the last 600, so yeah,
$2.80 for Savvy Cope.
Couple of questions, fellas. Scott Base, 2,000 metres, is that really his thing?
I don't know if Hastings is his thing, actually.
Yeah, I almost agree with you there.
Just, just wants to find trouble.
Fast pace.
With his racing style.
So we're a yes on Savvy Cope, we're a maybe on Scott Base. Dan's Dance we've only seen a little bit of, but not going to the trials. Chris Gibbs did consider taking her to Pukekohe today and he changed his mind. Windspell very good, our Aberdeen very good. High Flyer and 5 to Midnight right next to each other there. Now Jonathan Parks rode both yesterday. On what I saw, over 2,040, Bruce, I would suggest you'd be keener to ride 5 to Midnight than High Flyer. I'm not sure High Flyer's a real 2,040 metre horse either.
So the Fast Track Insurance Stayers was a close finish, but anything likely for the Livermore, really?
Why not 5 to Midnight? He's a proven horse. He's rock hard fit. He's a horse who last season was very competitive at a very high level, admittedly mainly in
Pacer
staying
ran
races.
second.
Look, but you can only beat what you can beat. He's come here and he's won this race. I wouldn't be stunned if they want him to, if Parks chose this over high flyer over 2,040 metres. I thought it was a pretty good performance considering the leaders seemed to have an advantage all day,
Ladies
and Big
first.
Mike looked to have them beaten at the 400. The ladies first, you'll see there on the inside,
She's
is dropping
disappointing.
back. Spoke to Alan Sharrock this morning. Couple of things. He wanted her ridden a pair back. He thought she was too handy there in the trail, but the way the pace was for the day, I can see why they ended up there. He said blinkers haven't gone on yet. He has two options, Livermore or the Egmont Cup. He said she'll need to run top 3 in one of those 2 races to still be a chance of going to Melbourne. So Alan wasn't too disappointed with the horse, but he did say that the next start will determine whether the Melbourne Cup is still an option for them.
But overall, you're absolutely wrapped if you got on Sevi Cope early.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's
she's
just-
flying. You're giving her compensation for that interference and the way the track played. She's right there with Melody Bell if you give her a couple of lengths.
She can win some serious races in Australia, that horse.
Well, after this race, you may well go to the Caulfield Cup, and it's an awfully big stretch from the Livermore when you look at
Yeah,
that
but
market to a Caulfield Cup. It's a totally different type of race.
Exactly, but you compare her to the New Zealanders over there chasing the Caulfield Cup.
You've also got to wonder whether she'd be better going for a mile. A mile, classic, a mile around Flemington.
Big roomy
very,
track at
big
Flemington,
roomy
yeah.
track. But hey, the Pittman boys have done nothing wrong with him, and they're becoming a very good travelling stable.
Jeez, don't you like Michael Pittman when he's on the back of a winner? He just loves it.
And
She's just in the right place for that, for taking on those big targets. Let's just let
think-
it rip. And currently Michael's headspace at the moment, he will take on anything.
I think a few trainers there will be thinking, do I really want to go to the 2000? Is that really my go? Or do I back off now and start thinking about a Copeland's Mile or a Captain Cook or something like that? So I think there's a lot more to be written about this race.